Greetings, welcome to Lunarburn Studios. In today's video, we're going to talk about safety that goes along with working with ceramic shell. I know everyone wants to jump right in, but the materials that we're working with in this environment are toxic. And not necessarily toxic, toxic that's going to melt your face off, but it is toxic to our respiratory system. I really want to emphasize the fact that it's like on this stuff, it can be super nasty. We're dealing with, flowers, they can stay airborne. And once you inhale this silica, it will not leave your body. It will stick in your lungs and then accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. And it's not going to kill you today if you're just starting off, but if you're going to be using this for any period of time and really incorporating it into your ceramic or into your foundry practice, you're going to be exposed to it on a daily basis. So you really need to protect yourself, and so you don't feel the repercussions of this material and this process later on down the line. Now, not only will we experience issues with the silica when we're in the shell room and mixing and dipping our shells, but also in later processes that include prepping shells for burnout, sometimes even in the burnout itself, during the pour, and then most importantly during the deinvestment when we're breaking out our castings. I really want to emphasize the fact that before we get into all the nitty-gritty on how we're actually going to work with shell, I really want to emphasize that you need to be safety. You need safety first. You need to be safe when working with ceramic shell, but really you want to get you want to have a proper at least a half mask respirator, and it's something that really fits nice snugly to your face. If you buy your respirators at Depot or any hardware store or whatnot, typically those are all mediums. And if you have a medium-sized face, you're golden. But if you're on the smaller side or a bigger person, you're going to want something that fits appropriately. And whether it's through Amazon or a safety supply place, you really want to go in and actually order a proper mask. Now the mask I'm using is a North brand respirator half mask. It's their 7700 series mask. And then actually I like using these additional tubes referred to as a backpack rig. And this allows my filters to actually hang off my backside. So instead of having my filters right up in my face and dealing with the weight if I'm wearing them for an extended period of time, but also it keeps my mask low profile enough that I can wear different safety shields, welding helmets, face masks, and whatnot. Also, my filters actually last longer because they're not right. Typically your face is right in all the nasty. So, but by having my filters off my back, and they're slightly out of the nasty environment stuff, and they actually do, you actually get a little longer life out of your actual cartridges. But regardless of the brand, I'll put links for this down below, and those will be affiliate links that do support the channel. The color coding for the cartridges themselves is universal across all respirator companies. And so this purple color is referred to as a HEPA filter, or more specifically P100. And this will trap any of the silicas 99.999 and will protect you in an adequate way or in the best way possible, as long as you actually have a mask that fits your face appropriately. Now technically, yes, having a beard is problematic with having a respirator. I just try to cinch it down as tight as I can. But if you were actually in a commercial situation and getting a respirator fitted test, which I've done before, and I'll actually have to trim down to a goatee, so my beard, what beard I have, actually fits inside the mask, and I can get a nice tight seal to my face. But I do like wearing a beard, so I take that a little bit of a risk. But I just cinch it down tight and keep my beard fairly well trimmed. I mean, so it looks long, but it's not like I have a mountain man beard. In that situation, you pretty much are kind of really compromising any kind of respiratory protection you might use. But we do want to make sure that we are wearing the right protection when working with these materials. The silica is super, super nasty, especially at the 400 mesh grade that we're going to utilize it with. Basically, once your body breathes in this dust, it doesn't leave your body again. It just sticks to the inside of your lungs. You don't exhale it. And so, you know, a couple, you know, a lungful here and there as you're first starting, stuff like that, it's not going to kill you right off the bat. But 5 years, 10 years, 20 years of being a foundry person, long run and stuff like that, you'll get silicosis, black lung, or some other nasty cancer. So you really do want to wear, you know, the right protection, and I can't emphasize that enough. Along with, you know, eye protection and the respiratory protection, you know, talk to is, you know, we want to be able to protect our hands. The colloidal silicas can be very aggressive as far as pulling moisture out of your hands, and it can make them raw and chapped very quickly. And so the gloves I like to use are these Nighthawk Defenders. It's a nitrile glove. They're 6 mil thickness, and so they're fairly durable. So you don't need to use a pair every time you do a dip. I've found that when I put them on, when I'm done after a dip cycle, I can, you know, wash off my hands like I would normally and dry off the gloves before pulling them off, and I can usually get a pair of gloves to last through an entire, you know, dip cycle of several days, taking them off and putting them on 10 to 12 times through the process. And so even though they cost just a little bit more, they more than make up for their cost effectiveness. They also fit on the hand. They fit a little bit, you know, past the wrist, so you're less likely to actually get any material up inside your glove. But ultimately, you can utilize dish gloves. They also work out really well, and obviously are fairly durable and cheap. The challenge with the dish gloves is that you can't feel your fingertips, and so it's nice to have a little bit more control over what you're working with in your tools, and so that's why I prefer using the nitrile gloves. But I have found that within this process, this is kind of the best of both worlds, a nice durable but yet flexible solution for protecting our hands. So ideally, you want to be in a situation where you have a place where you can contain all your silicas and dust. So you're not contaminating the rest of your studio space or your home for that matter. You know, what I've done here is that I literally made a room within my larger warehouse space out of using pallet racks. You can kind of see some of the beams and whatnot behind me. Well, here I'll show some video here of the space itself. So it's nice. It's like when I was able to kind of frame out a section. I'm using, I guess, 3-4 sets. And so it doesn't make a huge room, but it makes it, you know, it's like 8-foot ceilings. I guess I'm dealing with about a 10-foot by 15-foot space. And so, but it does, you know, like I said, I'm in a larger warehouse space, so it's impossible for me to regulate the environment in the larger, you know, space, you know, when it's too hot in the summer or too cold in the winter. So with this smaller space, I have a little bit more control over my temperature and my humidity ranges, which help facilitate the process of ceramic shell. But again, it also allows me to control and keep the silica contamination to my studio to a minimum. And so now that we've covered the basics and safety, now we're ready to jump in and start talking about what actually ceramic shell is. So that will be in the next video. There'll be some affiliate links in the description for all the products I described today. And they are affiliate links which, you know, do support the channel, just an FYI. But then also, if you're, you know, as always, if you're digging the content, you know, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. You know, if you found something helpful in this video, hit the like button. And so until the next video, be creative and be safe.